You're listening to the ADHD Heroes Podcast, a podcast where we speak with the heroes of the ADHD community, namely educators, mental health professionals, and of course, those with ADHD themselves, to gain insights, tools, and most importantly, inspiration towards succeeding and thriving with ADHD. I'm your host, Rabbi Shmuel Reich, a high school Rebbe and an ADHD coach in private practice. Welcome to the show. Hi there. On this week's episode, I spoke with a behavioral therapist named Moishe Grunfeld. We discussed behavioral therapy, the important role of parents as participants in the process, different techniques he uses with school-age kids, playing to the strengths of the students he works with, the value of getting them to relax and be in a good frame of mind in order to work with him, and a lot more. We also discussed what the relevant takeaways can be for those of us who are not behavioral therapists from hearing about his work. Enjoy. Moishe Grunfeld, welcome to the show. I'm very excited for our conversation today.
Very excited. It's a pleasure of me being on here and talking about whatever it needs to be talked about. ADHD, a common topic in today's generation. People actually mistaken ADHD for trauma also. So
Yes, they do.
it is good to check it out if it's ADHD in reality.
Yes. Okay, so a little bit about yourself and your background. Get our listeners familiar.
So I do behavior work. I'm a behavioral therapist. They call me behavioral therapist. They call me different names than just titles. Well, my main profession is educating children, educating parents, educating teachers on different issues that arise, and to make parents and teachers and children understand that the different needs they need, of the children's needs, and the different needs that the teacher needs to give out to the children, and different needs that the parent needs to give out to the children is part of my profession. My background is, as you can tell, I am a behavioral. I did work in the past in a lot of different places and different yeshivas, different places, different schools. So I'm very familiar with ADHD and many other different types of titles that they call.
Right. Okay. Meaning you saw a need in yeshivas, and that how did you get into this?
Well, for me, behavior is a fun job. I think it's very exciting to be involved in child behavior. A lot of things depend on child behavior. For example,
Yes, they do.
I'll give a little bit of an example. Let's say a child has thumb sucking. That's a child behavior, believe it or not.
Right.
A child using the restroom, that's a behavior of why the child is not using the restroom. That's a behavioral that he's not doing it. But there's the many different types of behavior. ADHD is more of a type of a behavior where I tend to try to focus as much as I can, but I can't focus. And a lot of times, sometimes there is certain things for the stress relievers on the desks, the fidget spinners, those sometimes do help with the ADHD.
I guess what is behavioral therapy more broadly? Just describe what we're looking at.
Behavioral therapy, basically, we describe. There's a lot of kids with different behavioral therapy, different types of therapists. For example, there's a CBT, DBT. There's a whole bunch of different behavioral therapies. I specialize in behavior therapy called ABA, Applied Behavior Analysis, where we take data and we analyze of what's going on and the child's progress of what's happening there. DBT is a little different, and CBT is also a little different.
Got it. So how would you describe behavioral therapies as a general category, and then let's zoom in on ABA?
So behavioral therapy is more like taking the child, and you have to speak to the child about his behavior, of what is wrong about it, why it's wrong, and how how the child can fix it, and how we can help fix the child's behavior.
As how would it differ from other types of therapy? Is like why does it get the name behavioral therapy? What's behavioral therapy in contrast with what is behavioral therapy not? I guess let's take it like that.
Behavioral therapy is we focus on behavior itself. We don't focus
Right.
on social issues. We're focusing only on behavior, only on issues in behavior. And
Right.
ADHD, there is a lot of behavior issues. Some of them have
Right.
antisocial issues. Some of them have aggression issues. Some of them have frustration issues. And those are all on part of a behavior. That's what behavioral therapy we deal with.
Got it. And what's ABA specifically? I mean, how does ABA differ from other behavioral therapies?
ABA is more like we deal with autistic kids, not severely autistic, sometimes yet severely autistic, depending on the child's need. We do autistic children. We make them sit in where they are. We try to make them, and let's say they're in the yeshiva and they're doing not what they're supposed to do. We put them in, we put a thing down for them that they're able to comprehend. That this is what we're doing now, this behavior. We work on one behavior at a time. You can't go on 100 behaviors at one time. If we go in ABA, in any behavior therapy, if we go 6 behaviors at a time, we're going to get to point zero. We have to start in one location. The main location is, let's say we focus on the child paying attention. So we take step by step, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, the next month, 40 minutes, the next week, 45 minutes, and so on. That's what we do by ABA. We make it systematic that the child is going to be able to fit in slowly but surely. It does take time. It's not a 1, 2, 3 thing. No behavior therapy is going to heal a child in one listening session. Doesn't work like that. You could go to any psychologist also. It's gonna take at least a few weeks, maybe months. Everything depends on the situation.
So ABA, it sounds like you're primarily using it to work with autistic children. So what gave you the idea to apply it to ADHD related behaviors?
Oh, so ABA, like as I said, ABA is a type of therapy. It could
Right.
apply to any behavior. We applied the data for ADHD. I worked in the past with an ADHD child, and depends also what the parents do. If the parents are not going to put the foot down on the ADHD child and say, no, you're doing a great job, keep on doing it, here's the reward for doing a good job, then the child is going to go backtrack. We call it backtracking, because otherwise you need the reward. You need constant reward, constant ADHD, you need constant reminder saying, oh, what we're supposed to do now. It's great to have an ADHD, a nice chart. I have that also on my phone over here, that a nice chart of what I'm supposed to be doing. So it's very helpful to have a chart. It's very helpful to have in ABA, we do in all types of behavior. As I said, focusing is a behavior issue. That's no question about it. Frustration applies to ADHD also. We have then autistic kids. Autism can have ADHD also. Well, because the kid is autistic doesn't mean he's not ADHD.
Definitely not. Yeah. So that was the. I mean, was there a moment, or you just realized you had these techniques, they work, and you had kids who had both issues, so do whatever works?
I've dealt with ADHD on the ABA style, and it worked. But again, if the parents are not going to put what they need to put down, then no therapy is going to help a child, because the parent has to support whatever is going on. Because if they don't support them, bye child. Unfortunately to say. I'm not trying to be
Got it.
drastic over here, but
What's the role that they play? What do they need to be doing?
what do parents need to be doing? Well, parents need let's say there's a supervisor, for example, a supervisor above me, and the supervisor And then there's a clinician with the ADHD child giving ideas of what they should do and different types of things that help the child comprehend. And if the parent doesn't follow through, then we call that the parent is not really helping the child. That's letting the child ADHD, the child is not going to want to do work. We have to make the child do work. How are we going to make the child do work? That's a story by itself. Parents have to understand that ADHD kids are not children that are able to do a whole bunch. Like if you sit a child down, okay, here's your homework, do it. ADHD child is going to say 30 questions and put his head down, he's going to collapse. Right? But if you have, let's say you circle 5 questions, you're doing 5 questions now, 10-minute break. I like to split up things. So I'm a big splitter up and homework and everything. I like to split up things for children to make it simple. 10 questions, take a break, breather, take a little game, play a game a little bit, 5-minute game, go back to 20, another 10 questions. Actually, you finish the homework. Right now, we get a reward, ice cream at the top day. Ice cream is a perfect reward. Icing is a perfect reward.
All right, so you have to prep the parents a lot for this, I imagine, right?
I don't really deal with parents yet. That I deal with the supervisor. The supervisor is more on top of that. I deal with more of the teachers and I do deal with some parents, but most of the time I don't really deal with parents. Most of the time it's really the supervisor who's dealing with with the parents. I'm just there making sure that they're following through, and the supervisor tells me if the parent is following through. I tell them what's happening in class, and the supervisor knows what's happening in class because he hears it from the teacher, he hears it from the Rebbe. So whatever is happening in class, they know, and if the parent is not doing what they're supposed to do, then the child's behavior is going to either get worse or, usually what happens is they have shadows, and the shadows decide that they quit because, there is no point of having somebody watching the child and helping the child if the child is not being helped at all.
Oh, well. You're not the one educating the parents, but you're the one educating the teachers. I get it right?
I'm not directly involved with the parents.
Right. But you're directly one of the teachers, right? I got that right?
I'm directing the child. I am sometimes I go through to my supervisor to suggest some ideas to give to the teacher, and they do what they want to do with it. I sometimes won't give a teacher that idea, and if the teacher likes the idea, good. If the teacher doesn't like the idea, I work around it and make the best out of it. That's really what we need to do. The teacher is the boss of the class. There's no two ways about it. I need to know that.
Right. Are you involved in prepping the teachers? Is that part of the process? Are they pre-prepped? I mean, how do the teachers know what to do? It sounds like you're giving them ideas, but there's already a framework in place. Who sets up that framework?
Teachers hopefully do know what to do, because if they don't know what to do, then they shouldn't be teaching. They shouldn't be a Rebbe, for example. A Rebbe, for example, is a perfect example. If a Rebbe is teaching a class, he doesn't know how to deal with one kid, and then that's a problem, because you're going to have one kid always disturbing. And the best thing ADHD kids like is being sent out. So, yeah, you're sending them out. They love that. They're not in class. They love not being in class. That's what they like. You always have to be careful not to feed into their system.
Got it. So what are some instances you can recall where, introducing ABA techniques for kids with ADHD were helpful?
Oh, for example, let's say I use a timer. 20 minutes over here. Come 20 minutes past, we are going to do work now downstairs one-on-one. And let's say in the shul, most of the time I don't like working in a private room because now generation is not recommended. It's not, I don't say it's recommended. I like doing it in an area. I like doing it in an area where people are around. It's okay if people hear the conversation over there in the show, and we do one-on-one. We play a game, we do a little break, and then we do a real focusing work, and the child will go back to class. And that's ABA. That's what ABA is. we're redirecting the child or making them have a good time, enjoying themselves. Oh, now I could go back to class after 5 minutes of good time here, going back to class. Continues on again. That's a reward system. ABA is a reward systematic thing.
So if I'm understanding correctly, I mean, the kids in class, but they're not going to make it through the whole class because they're not wired to make it through the whole class. So they come out to you, you teach them a little something different than they're doing in class. You play a game with them so they're getting a reward, and then they're back in class. Am I getting that right?
Well, no child is going to be able to survive a whole class. I mean, if the Rebbe is going to teach for 2 hours, I don't think any child is going to be able to listen, me included.
Right, but the kids you're catering to are less.
Less efficient, right? We have to teach them 20 minutes. Now it's 20 minutes. The next section, we could go up after 2 weeks. You could go up in time, 25 minutes, 35 minutes, 45 minutes. Sooner or later,
So you
they
pull them
get
25, 35 minutes of what? Minute of class. I mean, you pull them out of class after that amount of time, or you stayed with them that amount of time?
25 minutes during class. And then after the timer buzzes or after we see that 25 minutes, they can have their own watch and say, oh, 25 minutes passed, and they can let me know, oh, 25 minutes passed. Okay, we're going downstairs. Let's play a game, a refocusing game, or talking a little bit, learning a little bit. If they don't know they're learning, studying a little bit with me. And then we go back to class. They have after 5 minutes, we put in a 5 minutes. Sometimes we could play basketball, a 5-minute basketball game. Right? It's all a part of the ABA. That's all part of how we do the behavior to make the behavior get a child shifted into the classroom.
Right. Well, what's a refocusing game look like? A refocusing exercise?
A good refocusing game, I can imagine, is a crossword puzzle where you have to put things in different places. For example, a pattern puzzle is a refocusing game. Finding hidden objects is a focusing game. They make the child somehow focus. I can't get into that because I'm not an expert in that area, but it makes the child focus because the child has to look for point A, point B. Mazes also can be a focusing, certain focusing games that are very helpful. Sometimes I have sand, they can build things with the kinetic sand. That's also a focusing thing. I tell them, well, picture they need liquid kinetic sand. It's a very type of thing. It's a good thing to have. It's not like clay at all. It doesn't harden. It's a good thing to have at home. I recommend to parents having it at home. Kinetic sand is very enjoyable to have for any type of kid. You could build amazing things with kinetic sand. It's amazing. I tend to be a big fan of kinetic sand.
Cool. Wow. What are some of the what are some other things you tried? Tell me more. This is sounding great. Some other techniques you've used for kids with ADHD. Yeah.
Other techniques. So there's many techniques that you could try. The ones I've tried, I've done with ADHD a basketball game. Let's say basketball game, 10 minutes basketball game, 10 minutes learning, 10 minutes basketball game. Sometimes you have to understand if the child did not get help from when he's younger, then the problem is when he gets older, it grows into an issue. The problem grows into an issue. When the problem grows into an issue, it's a much more difficult situation. And that's where more professional help is needed, because also a lot of times in ADHD, children do grow out of it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes it stays there. But again, you have to teach the child how to overcome ADHD, and the child can't tell himself, hey, I have ADHD. I'm a dummy anyway. The children with ADHD are very artistic. I happen to see very good artistic work. I had a child that I worked with who was a kid at ADHD. He tells me, I'm a dummy. I don't know nothing. So I said, yeah, you got to draw, I heard. And I make him draw a picture. And he tells me, look, it's a funny picture. I said, it's better than mine. Look at mine. I always make it that I somehow draw the worst picture. This way the child feels like $1,000,000, and it's good because we need the children to feel like they're worth something. It's very important for a child's self-esteem that they feel a bit more about themselves, better about themselves. Now, that's one of the techniques that I tried, making them draw pictures, making them do work that they're good in. For example, I've had children that I've worked with that like to build. I brought them on, go. You like to build me a house. For example, build a house. Or you could even build a structure out of blocks, those click blocks. That's also another thing that's a lot of good for the ADHD techniques for the focusing and getting them to refocus.
So it helps in two ways. Meaning it helps them get back, get sort of recenter, and it also helps build self-esteem. Double whammy.
Yes, it helps them get their stress out. That's also. I find that it helps them get their stress out, or helps them get their whatever they have in their head out of their head, and they take a break and they go back to class. And are they missing anything? It doesn't matter what they're missing. They're very smart kids. ADHD kids are tremendously geniuses. Albert Einstein, I believe, was one of the ADHD people who was Albert Einstein was one of the smartest people. ADHD kids, and ADHD is just a title, but these kids are really, really smart, and they will try to get the parents. They will even try to get the teachers fooled. They'll be able to tell the teacher, yeah, go to mommy. Oh, I can't. I have a stomach ache. Oh, I need the bathroom. Meanwhile, they're just really just itching for a break. That's their sign for saying, I want a break. If you're making them sit for 40 minutes, they need a break.
What are tell me more, some other things you've done with them that have helped? We love stories here.
Another thing that I've done with them, I take them out to do the pictures we said, to do the kinetic sand we said, the click tree said. There's plenty of other crossword puzzles, as I said before. Crossword puzzles are a lot of fun. Kids with ADHD sometimes do like them, sometimes don't like them. It depends on the child's what they look at. Every child is very different from each other. No child is going to be the same. No ADHD child where you're going to say, okay, we have a behavior thing like this. Oh, this is great. We'll use this technique. No, every technique is for a different child. Every technique I use is for different children. You have to find out what's the correct technique. What is the way we could do with this child? What is the correct way to do with the child? Is going to build the connect sand. Is that going to be something he's going to like? Is that going to be something that he's going to enjoy? Is that going to be something that he's going to be able to comprehend and make him relax? The point is to get him refocused and relaxed, because ADHD, they're looking around the room, they're not trying to make trouble. They're not troublemakers. A lot of people are mistaken. They're not troublemakers at all. The ones I've worked with, people tell me they out to make trouble. I said, they're not out to make trouble. What they're out is they need attention and could give me more attention. The attention deficit, then you'd have to pay more attention to them. That's exactly what it is.
Did you have times where you tried something, and then you realized you had to tweak it? Meaning, like, what can be challenges when you're trying this? When you're trying, drawing or building or things like this? What challenges can arise?
What challenges? Let's say a child, right? Let's say you tell them to build a certain building. Let's say I would have pictures of buildings of what the child should draw. Let's say you should make a house out of the clicks, let's say. Sometimes a child will tell me, I can't do it. And I'll say, no problem. 1 minute for you to do yourself, and then I come help you. The main point is that the child has to start. He starts himself. Usually when he starts himself, he'll end himself. That's usually what happens.
So if I'm understanding correctly, it sounds like sometimes the challenge is the kid doesn't feel like they can do it.
That's correct. That's what they are. They are kids who say to themselves that I'm dumb. I'm not around in the class. I have a problem focusing. Everybody in the classroom is dumb. While everybody's looking inside, I'm looking around the classroom. I'm looking at everybody. I don't know what's going on. I'm flying around. I must be crazy. But believe it or not, a lot of kids are ADHD. Believe it or not, there's a lot of kids in the class there, but they handle ADHD different ways.
Right. Tell me more. How do kids who manage it themselves, what are they doing?
That's a good question. That depends on what the child's in. You can have a high functioning ADHD and you can have a low functioning ADHD, just like with autism. Low functioning autism is much more severe, where the child won't be able to use a bathroom, restroom, right? That's low functioning autism. ADHD is the same way. If the low functioning ADHD will have a reading, there are major reading disorders, major things where they get frustrated easily, extremely frustrated, extremely aggression. Also, a lot of times in schools, forget about yeshivas. I'm not talking about yeshivas. I'm talking about general schools where the kids in ADHD, they get made fun of a lot. Why? Because they're what they don't realize, all the kids don't realize, these kids are super, super smart. They got photographic memory. They can remember. They don't even have to look at the board. They could just draw a picture of what's going on in the class, and they know exactly what the Rebbe's talking about or the teacher's talking about. And usually when I take them out, I sometimes do say, okay, tell me what the Rebbe was talking about, but don't tell me by mouth. Tell me by drawing the picture. And usually that works because then I know the child was focusing for that 25 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever it was. That's the point of my the therapy is to make the child fit in where it belongs. We need the child to fit in where it belongs. ADHD, we need to make sure the child is able to in the place where he belongs. If he's not if he's in a setting where he's not able to belong for any child, then it's a big problem for any child. Forget about ADHD. Any child that doesn't have the right setting, and let's say he's in a super high class, which no sensory, then they're like, what's going on here? They're not meant for that. They need a lot of sensory. They need a lot of things for their hands. There are a lot of things to make them be able to do. A lot of activities that need to make their mind refreshed.
So, what skill can somebody who doesn't do what you do learn from what you do? What can we extrapolate? Whether it's a teacher, a coach, someone with ADHD themselves, what would they want to take away from what you're doing in your experience?
So let's get the business over here. A teacher teaching 35 kids, we're not expecting a teacher teaching 35 kids to be able to put his foot down and say, okay, if a kid is in a setting, as I said before, where he doesn't belong, then a teacher's job is to notice that the child doesn't belong in the classroom. He needs to go out on breaks. The teacher has to figure out when. That's the teacher's job. If the teacher needs help with that, we're available to help them out. We're all available to help them out. We are able to help them. There's professionals to be able to help them. They have, Torah Masora has a whole class on being able to teach with all these type of children. So there's a lot of help out there that anybody could. You could just go online and search it up. You could find a whole bunch of stuff on ADHD. Me included. I'm on it's something called CHADHD. It's a thing that they print out newsletters. I get newsletters every month, and I get different articles, and it's amazing of what I read over there of the kids they overcome their obstacles.
What can someone with ADHD themselves, maybe someone older, a teenager, or even an adult, what can they what's the takeaway from them for what you do?
Well, again, when I was younger, let me say about when I was younger. When I was younger, I did have frustration issues. People would call me, I had a problem. People would think I had anger issues. People would think I'm crazy. I would say myself, was I bullied? I'm not sure if you would call it bullying, but I was different. I was a little different. Every child is different. Every person is different. Every ADHD is different. So even a parent or even an adult, even a teenager that says to himself, I tried everything, it doesn't help. That means he didn't try everything. There's something out there that you got to try that's going to help. There's obviously you don't try everything. And you put it in 1, 2, 3 steps. You don't put everything in one shot. If you put everything in one shot, nothing is going to work. You can't put everything in one shot. You have to always take steps. When I was getting older, or where I am right now, I took steps. I wasn't right away a professional. I started off as a regular shadow for a kid who was handicapped. And then I started tutoring. Tutoring is a major skill. You have to know how to tutor. You have to know how to have the patience. And then I started tutoring kids with different disabilities. A lot of the kids I tutored were ADHD, and I made it into a game. That's actually one way, a lot of fun that I find it also, even in teenagers, that teenagers can make it into a game. You can make a learning into a game. What do? Let's say you name a state. We name the state and we play a basketball game. That's a lot of fun. Or we play a drawing game. Whoever draws the best picture of what we're learning in the teenage, they could win, Depends on the ADHD. And adult is a little harder. Adult is more already. We expect an adult to overcome ADHD, to be able to, hopefully he got the help, or he or she got the help that he had. So if we don't take steps, the adult needs to take steps also. He has to have a calendar marked on. I have a calendar at home. I hope I'm not ADHD. I wasn't diagnosed with ADHD. I went to a psychologist. I was never diagnosed with ADHD, so I know I'm not ADHD, but I have a calendar. This day I'm doing this. I have a list of what I'm doing today, right? Every day you have a list. It helps out a lot. And adults, it's a lot easier to do. What am I doing? I'm going to work. What do I need to do at work? Make a list of what I need to do at work. That's how you, an adult, that's the way we have to work an adult and ADHD, because that's the way ADHD is very forgetting. We forget. We have to remember. So there, I remember. I have it on my phone. Oh, I have a meeting coming up. Oh, I have orientation coming up. Oh, I have a college class coming up. Right. So you always remember. Oh, this is what I need to do now. I got to study for that now. Oh, I got to study for that now. I got to take care of Shimon now. I got to take care of Yaakov now. 10 minutes of Yaakov, 10 minutes of Shimon. Every parent needs a list of what to do.
What's a message of hope you can leave our listeners off with?
A message of hope. A message of hope is that if you try, you succeed. If you're not going to try and put in the effort, you're not going to succeed. And sometimes you try and you're failing, but sometimes at the end of the ladder, just remember, if you fall down, you're only going to fall down enough, and you have to get back up. Getting back up is hard, and once you get back up, it becomes easier. It says so in the Chumash and the Torah that sometimes you fall, and when you fall, you get back up. And if you don't get back up, Chas v'shalom, you could go more worse. You don't want to do that. You want to be going lamala. Sometimes you fall. That's not the worst scenario. There is hope for everybody. There's always hope. I believe in everybody. I believe in children. I understand the children. I understand the parents' frustrations that the child, I can't get my child to listen. ADHD child, I can't get him to listen. He's killing the house. What do I do? He's breaking all the rules. There you set ground. You have a chart. I have a chart. What to do. This is what we do now. Actually, you did it. Reward. Fantastic. And they overcome the ADHD. That's the way it is.
Okay, great. How can people get in touch with you if they'd like to follow up?
They could get in touch with me by texting me, 917-602-7981. And they can WhatsApp me. Again, the same number, 917-602-7981. They can email me, but usually I don't look at my emails, so the best is just to text me or WhatsApp me, and I will try to answer the questions. I can't promise I'll answer questions because I have a busy schedule going on, but I can try to answer your question, and sometimes I won't be able to answer them. I'll admit I won't be able to answer everybody's question, and if I can't answer the question, I will be in touch with a professional to ask them their question, and we'll get back to them on that question.
Okay, great. And anything else you want to say before we call it a day?
It's a pleasure being here on the show. And again, thank you for bringing out the ADHD. It's very important to know that ADHD is just a title. It doesn't mean a kid is a dummy. It doesn't mean the person is a dummy. It means the person just has a disability that he can make an ability. Every disability can make an ability. I happen to know of a person who's a psychologist who's a autistic person, and he's a psychologist. So what am I trying to say? And people are going to argue, oh, he's a high autism. No, he'll go caregiver high. But the point of the matter was he was diagnosed with autism and he became a psychologist. And he says, I make the best of my disability to make it an ability. And that's the word we need to use. It's not a disability. It's a disability to make it an ability.
Nice. Okay, Moishe Grunfeld, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure, and you keep up your good work.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you again for listening to this episode of the ADHD Heroes podcast. For questions about the podcast, you can email us at adhdheroespodcast@gmail.com. Also, for sponsorships or to share your story, your ADHD story, you can also email us at the same place, adhdheroespodcast@gmail.com. To be in touch with me about ADHD coaching, writing, or speaking engagements, you can email me at rsreichadhdcoach@gmail.com. Be sure to check out my website, rsreich.com, adhdcoach.com. You can follow me on LinkedIn, or you can check out my blog on nefesh.org. Check out my blog there under my name. Important disclaimer: podcasts are great, but they do not take the place of mental health help or medical help. So if you need help with mental health or need a doctor, be sure to be in contact with some of them. Please, if you like this show, please rate, review, and share with a friend. That's how these things get out there. Thank you again for listening, and thank you to our producers at Pretty Easy Podcasts.